All right, y'all. Welcome back and happy Friday. It's time for day 7 of fall camp. News, notes, and thoughts. Please like and make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. We're going to be starting off with the injuries. And obviously, man, we got some huge news today that Jermod McCoy is back out there kind of working with the team with his helmet on. I think maybe he's going through a little bit of that acclimation period and obviously still doing some rehab work, that's a great sign for our Tennessee Volunteers. And we'll also take a look at AI and see what AI has to say about his timeline and when he should be coming back. But looking at these injuries, we now have 2 columns worth of injuries, and it's still pretty normal to me just because in football players get hurt, players got to sit out. Our scrimmage is going to be interesting just because a lot of guys won't be going in that scrimmage just based off of this list. And I'm really not too worried about it, y'all. Just outside of maybe Joshua Josephs, Braylon Staley, and Ricky Gibson, those guys will, and then also Brazel, because Brazel, he was supposed to be back at some point this week practicing with the team. He hasn't gotten back just yet. So yeah, there are maybe a few setbacks, but we still have so much time left in fall camp for us to get these guys back out there. There will be more scrimmages, and guys just really need to be ready for a really long season. It's all about, if there's something that's maybe nagging these players, let's not let this be an ongoing issue. Just get it cleared up right now so that over the course of the year we can have these guys ready for us. And at the same time, we're building up depth with some new players, whether they're young or whether they're transfer portal players, whatever that is. We've got to make sure that we have that proper depth by the end of the year. And I mean, obviously you have to have a good start to the season so that by the end of the year we're still playing for something. But I think that we're going to do a really good job of managing that. And that's what's going to separate really every SEC team, really every single Power 4 team, and every single football team, period, is who manages this fall camp portion of it with the workload, with all of that. Who manages that the absolute best? That's who I think will probably end up having, of course, relatively speaking, you have to have some talent. Tennessee's roster is a lot more talented versus the rest of the SEC than what has been previously. So I think that we will figure everything out. We're going to manage things right. And once it's crunch time, once it's go time, we'll have the players in place where we need them to be. So that's pretty much all that I have there. Really outside of, obviously with Braylon Staley, I thought that was going to be more of like a maintenance deal. But since he's missed so many days back to back to back, could be more than that. Again, man, just sit him out and make sure that he's ready to rock and roll. And I'll also say this, that for these younger players, you do want them getting reps, right? Just because if you didn't get that many snaps or that many reps last season, you went through spring, got some reps, but now it's fall camp. Like, you've got to be able to keep yourself sharp. So yes, sit out, make sure that you're fully healthy, but then, find a way to be able to get in extra reps or something, because there is something to how many hours, like how much time are you putting in, how many reps are you putting in? That's going to help with the sharpness, with the crispness of this team. But with that being said, this is what AI says about Jermod McCoy. And he had his surgery, I want to say in January. So this would be close to like 8 months post-op. And y'all can just kind of like pause this and read what it's saying, like where he's going to be at. Actually, looking at some of this stuff, I can tell you that he's already doing like the shadowing. That's what we saw out there today with his helmet on. Like I said, him wearing his helmet, and I don't know what they call those, like little light shoulder pads that the players wear whenever it's just helmets. But, he's out there with that on. So it feels like to me that he's trying to get his rehab work done and also get himself acclimated with the helmet, because there's a certain period that football players have to go through where you're practicing without a helmet, with the helmet, and then with the shoulder pads, and then with full pads. So maybe he's going to get all that knocked out while he's doing his rehab, so that once he's done, and once he's fully clear, once he's confident in his knee, he can come back and he can step into some of these games. So I'm hoping that that's what the game plan is, but there's always still a possibility that maybe he doesn't play in 2025. I don't know how realistic that is, but I'm just throwing it out there that is a possibility. So we're seeing that next month, they're saying he should be doing some like full speed stuff. He should be doing some 7-on-7, like non-contact work. So that would be September. Obviously, that Georgia game is in September. And then, y'all, this is AI. AI gets stuff wrong all the time. I've seen places from some of these like medical sites, because I personally, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know. But I've seen on some of these medical sites that guys coming off of this sort of an injury with the surgery and all that on this level, they could be back as quick as 7 months, okay? 7-8 months. So that's why I said, okay, he might be maybe fully cleared by this month, or maybe by like midway through this month at the start of next month, and he might be able to go for that game versus UGA. But again, I don't know how realistic all that is. If somebody here is a doctor, y'all please chime in and let me know. But they're saying that it's probably the most realistic thing that he comes back maybe at the very end of this year, so by like bowl season, or that he maybe just sits the whole year out. Like I said, man, you got to take it with a grain of salt. But I thought that that'd be fun for us to just kind of start there and see what AI is saying about Jermod McCoy, who I think, yeah, he should be a first round draft pick, and I think he's probably the best cornerback in all of college football. But this is him here. Y'all can see him just kind of going through some of those drills. But while he's doing that and while y'all are watching this, I'm going to go into my notes and start to talk about what we heard about from practice today. So obviously, we didn't get to hear from any of the players or coaches today. You know, they didn't speak to the media, but we have our scrimmage coming up tomorrow, so maybe they'll speak to the media then. Some people will. I'm sure the Coach Heupel probably will. It's going to be very interesting to see what the takeaways are from that scrimmage, from Coach Heupel, what he has to say, and anyone else who speaks, but then also with the insiders from some of these different sites. But we're going to start off with Tennessee's secondary, just because we're talking about, the best cornerback in the land, and hopefully he's going to be back for us. But at cornerback, Colton Hood, Marcus Gorey, Trey Poteet, and Colin Brazel. Those were the guys who were going just based off of one of those sites. And then at safety, it sounds like Idris Farouk is still working with the ones next to Andre Turrentine. But him and Caleb Beasley, they'll probably be rotating. I think all three of those guys will get some opportunities to kind of like mix and match and rotate. We'll see how those guys do because I've heard some good things about that room, and I'm curious to see how do they step up in a like real live situation. But that's pretty much it. So stars. It sounds like J-Mac. He was starting at star. So I'm curious who the starting cornerbacks were. I didn't see anyone specify that. But, he was starting there, and obviously Boo, he's back. I think it's big that Boo will be playing for us. Wouldn't be shocked that maybe he gets to start week 1 at star. Then you can roll J-Mac out there at one of the cornerbacks, if need be, because, Ricky Gibson, he is kind of banged up right now. Hopefully he's going to be back by then. But let's talk about Tennessee's quarterbacks in our passing game. So we had routes on air today, and we threw from the 10-yard line. So from the 10-yard line to the back of the end zone, you have 20 yards. I mean, that should be pretty much perfect. All right? It should be very, very close to it. And I can tell you what the numbers were, but first, how they kind of like split time. It sounds like Merck got the most first team reps, but him and Joey, they both were going back and forth. And then obviously G-Mac, he was third. But G-Mac sounds like he had the best day. I feel like I've heard that a couple of days throughout practice. And as we've touched on, if he was about 20 pounds heavier, I don't know how much of a competition this would be at quarterback. I think that he has the highest ceiling. He just needs to get a little bit bigger. He's still new to playing ball. And again, man, with that scrimmage, and we'll probably go back to that several times throughout this video, but with that scrimmage, you can tell who looks good in like live game situations. And does G-Mac get to work with some of the ones? Does he get some of those reps? That'll also be very interesting just because do you even want to waste up those reps? If you feel like, if the coaching staff feels like this is really between Joey and Merck, would you even take the time to waste those reps putting G-Mac out there with those ones when it's very valuable, okay? You only got so much time. But just as far as what they did out there, G-Mac, he went 16 of 17. And again, it sounds like he had the best day. Merck went 17 of 18, and Joey went 15 of 18. So Joey and Merck, they had the same amount of passes. Obviously, Merck, he was more accurate. Some of that stuff could be drops, but it does sound like Joey struggles some with his accuracy. That's a little bit concerning to me just because, man, if it's only 20 yards, like I said, I mean, you really shouldn't be missing those. Like this is, some of them could be drops, but the quarterback should be accurate. Feels like maybe the wide receivers had a better day from top to bottom. They didn't have any drops, had a better day than what the quarterback showed. So I think that's about it. The only other note here is that they looked solid throwing the football to the running backs coming out of the backfield. So they were doing some more of that like play action, boot stuff, maybe like sprint outs and some of that. Obviously, I don't know because I didn't see it. I had to go by what I'm reading. But it sounds like G-Mac looked the best there, kind of throwing on the move. And maybe it was equal between Merck and Joey. So I would think that Joey Aguilar should look really good doing that because he did a lot of that, for the past couple of years. You know what I mean? So, again, man, players are going to have up and down days, but we got to start to find that separation with our quarterback room definitely sooner rather than later. And it also sounds like they showed relatively good accuracy and some good zip on their passes. So there is talent there. We just got to tighten some things up. So as far as wide receivers, like I said, they had no drops from what all the insiders said today, which is obviously excellent. Also, because man, like we're still missing Brazel, still missing Staley, Mike Matthews. He was back out there. I think that that red jersey came also. He's back 100% full speed. Also, sounds like Ra and Travis Smith. Stop me if y'all have heard this before because you hear it every single day that they're making some really nice catches. Those guys will have a big 2025 year, and that's not to overlook or undermine anybody else, especially those veterans. They've been missing time, right? Talking about those vets, but those young players, you got to feel great, man, that they're stepping up, that they feel, hey, this is our opportunity. Also feels and sounds like Dotson had a good day. I saw that on one of the sites, wasn't on all of them. But yeah, I mean, Tennessee's wide receivers, I think that will be fine. It's just about those numbers. It's possible. I don't know how realistic this is, but I think that it is possible that maybe Tennessee in the final hour tries to go add somebody from the portal, just to add another body. I don't know. I don't know. But if I was them, I personally would, just to make sure, hey, we've got some people in here. And even if they're not ready for like the first part of the year, what about later on? I think that we should always be looking long term with this team. By that time, by I would say maybe like halfway through the season, those guys should have a good understanding of what this offense does and how to operate in it. But outside of that, running backs, it sounds like, they were catching the passes on air, like we talked about. Sounds like everyone looked good. There was a note, I want to say, on every single site that Justin Baker did have a drop pass from, I think it was Phillips. He's one of the like walk-on quarterbacks. So could that be part of it? I don't know. I mean, obviously, you have to make the catches, but to me, that's not a huge deal. Sounds like they all had a very solid day. Offensive line, the only real notes here is that Bennett Warren's been working at left and right tackle, and we've talked about this several times. He's that new swing guy because Jesse Perry, I can almost say about 98% certain that he's going to be starting somewhere on the offensive line. I think probably right guard. I feel like they like Jesse Perry starting at right guard and then Sham starting at left guard. So it would be Moy at the other guard, and I think that Sam Pendleton is pretty much locked in at center. One of the more interesting things, too, just with our offensive line from top to bottom, is that I'm not really worried anywhere. I'm maybe outside of the centers having some snapping issues. With Cooper Mays, for however long he was the starter here for like 4 or 5 years or something, we didn't have that problem, okay? So that's a pretty serious thing. Like, we've got to get consistent with our snapping. Going from pistol to the like regular shotgun, there is a difference with that depth. Is that what's messing with our centers? Because from what Coach Ellerby said the other day, sounds like William Satterwhite and Sam Pendleton might be having some problems with the snapping. But again, we'll see in the scrimmage who does the best job from that standpoint. You have to do everything else. I think that they get it mentally. I think that they can hold up maybe physically for the most part, but you got to first be able to snap the daggone football. So I have to watch out for that. And then I would say that, Tennessee's linebackers, Jaden Harmon, he's a guy that I saw a lot of clips with, and he looks good. He looks bigger, looks thick, looks solid. He looks like he's close to about Jordan Burns' size. Jordan Burns listed at like 223 or something like that. So yeah, I think that if either one of those Jadens as freshman linebackers are at 220 pounds, they can play, and they can play very well for us. I mean, there's just a different level with that whole linebacker room from top to bottom with guys that can play out in space, they can cover, they can rush, they'll hit you, they'll thump you, they understand football. I think that Tennessee's defense is going to be really freaking good. Didn't really see too much from our D-line, but we know that they're super deep pretty much everywhere. There's no real question marks for me there. I think that we can mix and match however we need to on any given game, and we'll be perfectly fine. So defense should be straight, more about when is the offense going to pick the pace up. And as I've stated several times, it's normal that the offense is going to be a couple of steps behind where the defense is this early on in fall camp. But by next week, we should start to see them maybe gaining some ground. For sure, by that third week, it should be pretty even. We should see both sides making plays. And I would say that by then, I mean, we should have a pretty clear, maybe not us as fans, but the coaching staff, they should pretty much know who the starting quarterback is probably going to be. Who's going to take that next step forward? We will see tomorrow, not just at quarterback, but everywhere on this team. But those are my thoughts. Y'all please share yours down in that comment section. And P&I should be back at some point tomorrow to give y'all some more thoughts on our scrimmage and tell you, what our takeaways are. But as always, y'all, please do make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll be talking to y'all later on. Thanks. Peace. Thanks for watching. And please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel because that keeps us growing inside of the YouTube algorithm. And if you did like this video, here's another one that you might also enjoy. Thank you. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.